Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And we always love talking about the importance and the power of oral health. And that's why we're honored to have with us a recipient of the Hands On Nashville Catherine Strobel Volunteer Awards. We're talking with Dr. Eileen Seitz, founder and executive director of Giving Smiles. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Well, congratulations on being one of the Hands On Nashville Catherine Strobel Volunteer Award recipients. Let's start with a little bit of the background. So being founder, executive director, a dentist, give us a little bit of the history for launching Giving Smiles.
Well, I'm a general dentist, and even though I had a private practice, I always volunteered. And I would volunteer in weekend clinics and in public health clinics and all over the city, all over Tennessee. And I soon realized that there was a real need for dental care, that these people didn't have the money to go to the dentist, so they waited until a free clinic came around. So that's why I decided to start, and I decided it would be a good idea to go to where the people are. Because in Nashville, we have some clinics, we have a few, but they really can't begin to fill the need in Nashville. I mean, really, there are a few very good ones, but they're hard to get into, and they really can't take care of everybody. But out in the rural areas, it is amazing how little, how few safety net providers there are that can deliver affordable dental care and free dental care for these patients.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about like the Healthy Smiles initiatives and dental deserts. And I think what you're bringing up is so important for the public to understand is when you talk about just transportation in general is a barrier. And when you talk about a major city with traffic and logistics, like transportation is an issue. And then you get out into the rural areas and there's just few options. And so being able to literally go where the people are who need the dental care is a huge advantage on your end and a recipe for what our community needs to be able to thrive. So talk about that aspect of having a mobile clinic.
Well, so I decided to start, and I went to Virginia and I bought a pre-owned mobile clinic, and it's 32 feet long or something. And it has 2 dental chairs and office in it. And I drove it home to Nashville. I never drove a bus before, so I bought it home. And I took about a year to renovate, get some new equipment and renovate the inside. And so that's how I started. I now have a clinic as well, but that's how I started. And my first place I went was I had a friend who started a free food pantry, the Little Pantry That Could. You may have heard of that. And so I started going there. So that was one of the first places I started going.
When you look at being able to have the mobile unit, talk about some of the things that you see the most of. So when you talk about where the need is great, talk about some of the services, and then that'll tie into the physical location as well.
Well, after volunteering, I realized these patients had discomfort for years, and they would tell me they don't smile. They hadn't smiled in years. And so in the weekend clinic, we would get them out of pain, maybe do a few fillings, but we couldn't restore their smiles. We couldn't do crowns, even if we couldn't do partials or anything. So they had to walk around without their teeth. And so many people in Tennessee are edentulous where they have no teeth, but they can't even afford. So that's what I decided I was going to restore smiles. So I was going to give them smiles, Giving Smiles. And so I started going to places. Usually I had a connection there. There's a nonprofit medical clinic in Dixon, and I'm going to go there, and they have patients they know who need help. In Columbia, same thing. There's a public health dentist who knows patients who need dental care. Also, there's medical groups, there are oncology groups, and they have cancer patients who can't get their cancer treatment until all their teeth are fixed, but they have no money, and they don't have dental insurance. They don't have they have Medicaid to cover their surgery. So that's how I started, and there's more need out in the rural areas. Some counties don't even have a dentist. Very few have a public health clinic. So I think my clinic is the only nonprofit safety net clinic for about 6, 7, 8 counties south of Nashville. And so that's what I hear. And I've had people come from the border of Alabama to come to see me. Hours, they would drive hours.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's back to the importance of understanding the dental deserts is you're serving a really important need and gap in the community. I think all this, it's important to talk about, but hopefully everyone understands the importance of oral health. Yes. Your mouth is your gateway to health. And when you talk about taking care of your mouth, your teeth, I mean, it's, the food you eat, it's everything, like you mentioned, even the ability to smile and have success in your job, because a smile is confidence, opportunity. So talk about, from your perspective, the importance of oral health.
Oh, well, oral health is tied to so many other diseases in the body. And we know that now. So these people are walking around with infections and pain all the time. And so that has to be taken care of. And if they go in the emergency room, they won't have the tooth treated. They will get an antibiotic, which will help for a short time. So, and it's also, your teeth are so important for your health, for your nutrition, but also for getting a job. Like you said, I mean, if you're missing a front tooth, you're missing out on the American dream. You can't get a better job. And so there's so many reasons why dental health is so important.
Talk about the physical location.
So after I had the dental van for a few years, about 3 or 4 years, I started this in 2016. I bought the van in 15. So it's been 8 years. I decided that I would see patients in the clinic, but maybe I would just take the bus out there once a month, down. So for follow-up after extractions, or to restore their smile, to make them teeth, I needed several appointments so they could come to the clinic and I could do it there. So it's nice to have that as well. Yeah.
Talk about being volunteer powered. I think that's another special piece of this. Obviously, it's your story, your personal story, but you also have other dentists who volunteer their time and efforts to be able to make this happen.
That's right. That's right. They're so good. So I started this, bought all this actually, and I volunteer. And I don't expect to have anything that comes in is going to go right back into the practice. So I do have some employees because I have to have assistants and hygienists, and it's really hard to get volunteers all the time, and they're consistent. But I can get some friends to volunteer. And I go to a church where none of the parishioners are insured and they're poor, and the kids are falling through the cracks. So we go there and we see their children. And I have friends who are pediatric dentists, and they're always ready to help me. And so that's wonderful. They're just wonderful.
Tie that into support from the community, because I know that companies like Delta Dental of Tennessee, the Smile 180 Foundation, are big supporters and advocates of what you do. So talk about the importance of and how companies and organizations are helping to really lift.
Well, yeah, in the last couple of years, there have been grants available. When I started, there were very few, I think, especially for a mobile clinic. There wasn't Medicaid. I couldn't take Medicaid on a mobile clinic, and I couldn't get grants unless I had a brick and mortar, and the nonprofit was 3 years old. So I was on my own. But I have a lot of friends who often just send me a check. They're just so sweet. And my brothers and sisters, every time they see my picture, they'll send me money. So they're up in Chicago. But so that's really what I was going on. And I owned a practice, so I know how to run a practice on a shoe street. I know I bought just the best supplies, but I know where to get them. I know who to ask to donate them. And so it all worked out. But I knew a lot when I started.
When you look at the impact that you're having, talk about maybe one or two success stories that really warm your heart in terms of pouring into whether it's children or adults. And you don't have to name names, but just talk about the impact you're having.
Well, we get so much more back. People always say that, but we really do. These people are so happy. Let's see, there was one woman who came from East Tennessee, and she told me, I met her on one of the weekends clinics, and she said she couldn't afford a denture. So I said, well, come see me. She had to drive about 3 hours, and she said she hadn't smiled in 8 years. She hadn't smiled in 8 years, and she wanted her teeth for Christmas. So Christmas Eve, I would park as she'd come, I would park the van, the dental clinic in church parking lots sometimes. And they knew to meet me there on Wednesdays at the church parking lot, that they were coming. So on Christmas Eve, we got it done, and she was so happy. And, it's just amazing. They cry and they're so happy. And I've had a lot of homeless people come in, and they'll say, or a lot of people, not even homeless, they're working, they've never been to a dentist in their whole life. It's surprising. They've never been to the dentist. And so I get a lot of that. I get a lot of people who just want to smile. I have a woman who had 3 teeth, and lovely, lovely woman. She just wanted to sing at church, but she couldn't open her mouth. And she said she had a beautiful voice. So we made her teeth. And so and she was thrilled, and it looked really nice, and she looked really good. She was so happy. I've worked with some labs that can give me discounts on the lab work. So on occasion, I'll have maybe the patient pay a couple $100s for the lab work, and then they feel like if they can, because otherwise they would go to a dentist and it might be thousands and thousands of dollars.
I think it's pretty easy to see why you won the award when you look at the Mary Catherine Strobel Volunteer Award with Hands On Nashville. But what does that award mean to you personally?
Oh, wow. It's about the most important award I've ever gotten in my whole life. It is. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's just, first of all, they're a legend. I happen to be Catholic. They're just a legend, He was just the saint of Nashville. And I was just so honored to get that. And I put in all those hours, but I really don't do it thinking anything's going to happen. I just keep going. And but all this support from those things keeps me going. It really keeps me going on this, because I would bring the van someplace. My husband would get up. We'd get up at 4. We'd bring the van someplace, and he'd go there and he'd help me set it up. And I had these generators, and and then he'd go to work at the hospital at 6 a.m. And then I wouldn't be done till 6. I wouldn't break it down till 8, and would be home till 9. And so they were long days. And so it wasn't easy, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it. I love the patients. And I'm so blessed that I could do this. I can even do this.
Yeah, and I think to me, your story is so touching just in terms of the impact you're having, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. I think it's just amazing, and it's inspirational as well. How can the community help? So talk about ways we can get behind you and really support Giving Smiles.
Well, I would love more volunteers. That is wonderful. And there's other ways people can volunteer, photographers, just anything you want, artists who could help me with brochures and things like that. And then, of course, dental professionals. I often do this on Fridays and Saturdays even, because dental offices are closed, and then I can get volunteers. So I often do that, bring the van place, and then they go there, and then I'll go to my office during the week. Yeah, so there's another thing I can always use is supplies, and a lot of dentists have extra supplies. I don't have a partnership with a dental supply company at all, like some of the other ones do. And that would be just wonderful, because I just buy it. So I could use help. Even if you're not related to dentistry, you can help in any way. Even if you have no skills, you can come and help me set up, and just we will find something for you to do.
Yeah, I mean, just like you're talking about, getting to a place early and the setup with the generators, and it takes an army of people to be able to make the magic happen. And I think that's where, for anyone who just has a heart to serve and impact others in a really special way by getting behind Giving Smiles physically and financially, that's a great way to be able to give back and make a difference. And so, wrap up with website. Where do we go to learn more? Where do we go to get involved with Giving Smiles?
Well, I was telling you, if you want to volunteer, I also see a lot of musicians, and because musicians need dental care like crazy, and I would have free music days, and I'm going to do more of that, and I still see them at the clinic. So we love to I get volunteers when musicians come because they're great patients. They're just our favorite. So you can go to my website at givingsmilestn.org and givingsmiles1@gmail.com. And just say you'd like to volunteer, or if you need dental care and we can help you, that would be great too. Just email us and let us know, and we'll see what we can do. Or I also like to find places to refer them that are closer to where they live. I also find grants for them through certain churches, and certain people have grants for certain people. And so I can help them in some way.
So once again, the website, givingsmilestn.org, email givingsmiles1@gmail.com. So Dr. Eileen Seitz, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.